What's up, everyone? Welcome to Unmasked, where things are discovered, uncovered, brought to the light, and made known. I'm your host, Lamar Barrett, coming live to you from PG County, Maryland. If you're interested in finding out about the untold stories behind being a college coach, this is the show for you. Being a former assistant men's college basketball coach for 16 years, there are so many untold stories behind the scenes in the life of a college basketball coach. Now, let's unmask them. Today's guest was an outstanding player at the University of Rhode Island, a longtime assistant coach, one of the youngest, brightest coaches in the business, who I think one day will have her own program, a former co-worker at Hofstra University, where she did an outstanding job before heading on to her new position. And then she's also a Catonsville, Maryland native, Denise King. Now, a little bit about her bio. Like I said, I mentioned outstanding player at University of Rhode Island, one of the top, 20 scores in school history, also top 5 in assists. I won't give you those numbers, but she definitely is below 20 and below 5. Did an outstanding job there. And then for years, she decided, go back home, go to work, coach some AAU, coach high school as well. And then, you know what, I guess like everyone else, you sit at home for a year and, coaching is in your blood and you don't even realize it. She decided to get into college coaching, where she went back to her alma mater, and she was there for 4 years at University of Rhode Island. And then from there, she went on to Mount St. Mary's from 09 to 13 for another 4 years. And then Hofstra University for 5 years, where I got a chance. I was fortunate to work with her for a couple of years up at Hofstra, and I actually saw her firsthand. Like I saw her do a tremendous job there for that program. And then now she's presently at Umass Lowell, who actually she is doing another outstanding job there. I know they're building in the process of probably building a very good program there. So I just wanted to welcome to the show. I'm going to say it for the last time, Denise King, better known as DK. So DK, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks, LB. You read those stats, and I'm surprised because I couldn't even begin to tell you what my stats were there or whatnot. But great to be on the show. Thanks for having me. And yes, we are about to go crazy up here at UMass Lowell.
All right, DK. Well, you know what? Like I said, welcome, and let's get unmasked. First question. Now, you were playing. You're 1 year removed from playing, and you probably coached some of the players you played with. But in college athletics, there is no handbook on how to be a college coach. No one gives you direction. No one tells you what to do. It's almost like being a car salesman, where they just say, go out, get results, get it done, no matter what it is, whether it's recruiting, on the floor, whatever. Tell me about your first day, first week, first month, after things are done with human resources and orientation. Now you're thrown into the fire in Rhode Island, and it's like, all right, what do I do next when you get back to your office?
Well, I was legitimately thrown into the fire because I actually got hired and brought on right as things were picking up with practice and everything. So my first day on the job, I was actually in the gym. And like you said, I did actually coach about 2 or 3 of my teammates. One of them is one of my closest friends to this day. So that was in and of itself an experience, but I walked in and I was a little hesitant because I had some of the girls the year before on official visits, and I was like, how are they going to take to me? Are they going to listen to me? So I just stood and I watched, and my boss was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm standing and watching, what's going on? He's like, well, I brought you here to coach, so let's go. Let's coach. And then from then on out, it was pretty much smooth sailing, but having to separate myself between my teammates and the job that I was there essentially to do at such a young age, about 22, was an experience in and of itself, but I think I handled it pretty well.
Awesome. Great first day that you get to go into the gym. Some people get stuck and they have no idea, what to do. My first day, I didn't even know about a recruiting test. I was brought in, take the test, hit the road. So a lot of people don't know about recruiting tests. And so back then, you were around the same time where then it was 40 questions, 80 minutes. So it's changed a little bit now. You still got to get 80% of the questions correct. But like I said, that was a while ago. And the test is still stressful no matter how many times you take it.
To say the least. Let's not even talk about it. I got to take it in like a week and a half, and I am like stressing out. Don't talk to me. Don't say nothing. Like I pace. I do the whole thing as if I'm back in school. So no matter how long you in it, I'm 16 years in, and I still get extremely nervous.
Now, speaking of recruiting, we all know that that's the lifeline of college athletics. And whether you're on the men or women's side, and you got to recruit good players and good people in order to be successful. That's just the bottom line, and we know what we sign up for in that. Like, what was your best and worst recruiting stories? Like what can you come up with any of those? Like, what was your best and worst recruiting stories?
I would probably say my worst recruiting experience was I was super involved with this kid. Nobody really heard about her. We were in there, first to offer. I'm like, yeah, we're going to get her. Boom. Like I'm at like a smaller mid-major. And then literally like the last week, she's like, oh, I'm going to such and such. It's a bigger school. They came in last minute, swooped right in. And I was like, 2 years, I put my time, my energy, my effort into this. And I was like, yo, this can't be. Like it almost turned me into a completely different person when it came into recruiting. But it was a lesson learned, and I had to move on, and I had to figure out why couldn't we get her to commit earlier? Was there anything else we could have done? Was there anything else that I could have done? Did I do something wrong? So it gave me a little bit of time to reflect on myself as a coach. I would honestly probably say my best recruiting story has nothing to do with a particular kid, but I was down in Florida, AAU Nationals, and I was sitting in the gym, 22, don't know nobody, fresh out of college. People are like, who's this baby, essentially. And I sit, and in walks Pat Summitt. And I am like fangirling, crushing, hardcore, like stalked her when I played AAU, like, please take a picture with me, like, please. And she was like, this is a violation. I was like, I don't care, let's snap this. So to see her come into the gym and walk into the gym and everybody just have so much respect and admiration for her was crazy. But the biggest part of it was Samika Randall walked in right after her. So she came in, Coach Summitt was sitting down, people were talking to her. I was eyeing her like a hawk. Samika Randall comes in and she goes, hey, coach, it's raining outside. Please take my umbrella. And to me, I was like, that's crazy respectful. Like there was so much respect that Samika Randall had for Pat Summitt at that time. Cause I know some players now, if they saw their head coaches, they'd be like, I'm not giving them nothing. You know what I'm saying? So to come in and to see everybody kind of like marvel over her and just the way she took over the room, and then to see one of her former players come in and then another one come in and they go right to her and they speak and they give her a hug. That was probably like my most memorable moment that I'll never forget.
That's awesome, man. Like that is a lot of respect. You don't see that a whole lot, a lot of times, but that's a lot of respect. Wow. We know how tough this business is, and a lot of time is spent. Now, especially on the men's side, and the women's, they work just as hard, like if not harder. And like people think the question always asked is like, what do you do when the season is over? What's your downtime? Like they don't understand like there is no downtime. But like, what did you have to give up achieving your current level of success?
It is funny because people always are like, what do you just teach? Like, is it just during the school year? And it's like, nah, it's like 400 days a year, not 365, 28 hours. Like, it's crazy. I would have to say that I gave up the most is just family time with my family. I was only home for a small stint, which was fine. It was great. I loved it. I loved my time there. And then I got pulled away to Hofstra, which was fine too, because I was still able to get home. But some of the major moments that I missed my niece's graduation, from college this past year, being up here at Lowell. We had a game, so that was hard. But missing out on some of those family things, and even some of my close friends, some of their life struggles or sadness or happy moments, kind of missing out on those. That's what I sacrificed a lot of.
True. That's so true. Families, that's the one thing like you have to sacrifice because people don't understand your time. It's you know, something, hopefully it changes, but I doubt it ever will.
Right.
Going into, you think about this, everyone, and I've been to plenty of women games, I've watched them on TV. So, like I said, it's no different than the men. You can always tell who scouting is. You can always tell who scouting reporter is. They're invested. They're on the sideline. You know, they're yelling. Because when it's your scout, you support the people you work with. But when it's your scout, you hoping the players get it right. Your best scout report sometimes doesn't translate into a win. Even though you said you got it right, you think it's perfect. Sometimes I'm gonna say worst or not one of your best end up being on a big win. But what was your best and worst scouting reports, if you can remember?
Well, the scouting report business is my favorite. Like, I could scout back-to-back games. I could scout 2 games in one day. That's what I love the most about the job, to be honest with you. So in terms of worst or best, I don't necessarily think that I have a bad scout, because I feel like I do a really good job. And I feel like for me, my IQ of the game and just watching and picking up on things as a point guard is pretty good. The trickiest one, though, is always after the summer, school's out, you haven't played all year, getting back into that first scout and really locking in and really being all right, you got to be on it. You got to look for tendencies. You got to look for plays, how often, end of the game. That for me is the hardest part. And while those are still good in my eyes, for me, actually getting into the groove and being yeah, we back in scouts. It takes me probably a week or two to kind of get back there. But that first one, after being off for a while, I'm all right, cobwebs off. I'm what's my synergy login? Where am I doing? Can you help me figure out where this is? So it takes me a second to kind of refresh. So that would probably be my best and my worst.
Great answer. What's the biggest challenge you think you've experienced since you've been in college coaching?
My biggest challenge, I would probably say, I think a lot of people mistake for the amount of years that I've been in the business. I look kind of young. So I feel like at times people don't take me as serious because I do look a little on the younger side. So I'm not a boastful person. I don't really like to throw myself out there on things that I've done and where I've been. It's just not me. It's never how I've been. It wasn't me in high school. It wasn't me in college. It's not me now. So I think sometimes it's a lack of respect, just like I said, just how young I look. So that would probably be the biggest challenge sometimes for me. And it could just be in my head. I could just be bugging out, just be no, that's not it. But a lot of times people come on campus and sometimes they mistake me for a player. They're oh, what year are you? And I'm nope, I'm in year 16. Let's talk about that. So I think that's one of the trickier things, kind of being in the business right now for me.
Now, I look at it and I've seen your body work. I've seen you work. Like I said earlier, I think you're going to be a head coach one day. I just think you have it. But when people look at you, I know you just said something about you look young and things of that nature, but do you ever find that there are things about you that people misunderstand? What are they?
I'm extremely quiet. On the road, I'll speak, I'll say hi, we make eye contact, but I am surprisingly quiet until at least I get to kind of know you and things like that. And then I can open up a little bit more. But I think being a woman and being a Black woman in this business, sometimes people mistake your quietness as being a bitch. I mean, that's honest. Or being a little cocky, which I'm neither or. I mean, could I be if I wanted to be? Absolutely. But I don't, and that's not me. So kind of figuring out that portion of, I just go about my business, I'm head to the ground, I'll speak, but, we all have a job to do. And yes, I want to get to know people and stuff like that, but, there's a time and place for that. So I would say that, is kind of one of the the things that I think people confuse me about. And the methods to my madness are a little bit different. So I don't chase money. I don't chase clout. Um, I go to places where I feel like I can help turn a program around. I can help build a program where the academics are in line with what I want. Um, because at the end of the day, like I have to sell the school and where I'm at. And if I don't believe in any of that, um, then I'm not going to be able to do my job here or anywhere and help that program succeed. So it's more of a fit to me. It's more of what the head coach believes in, if it's in line with what I believe in. And I don't think everybody fully understands all of the movements that, I make at times.
Truly respect both of those answers. Now, like, we're all educators in this business. I mean, we're coaches, but we're also educating and teaching players all the time. Kids come to campus, the parents drop them off. And it used to be a time like that. Now, that really used to happen before, but now parents are a little bit more involved now. And so they bring them to campus. Sometimes they're probably around campus too long, but they kind of trusting you more to be a person that's going to be an influencer to them, because they have, they've done a great job for 18, 19, 20 years of their life, or 17, 18, 19 years of their lives. And now it's your job to kind of be the person that teaches them how to be a woman, go from young lady to a woman, because you're going to be for those 4 or 5 years, you're going to be the most important person in their life. So what do you try to teach your players besides basketball?
I would say for the most part, just, everybody wants to teach your kids life lessons. I'm really big on communication. I think that solves a good 90 to 95% of your problems if you're just open and upfront and honest with people. But on the same end, you have to be able to listen. So I like to try and teach kids just like problem solving. Have you exhausted all of your all of your options? Have you sat down and talked to them? And you'd be surprised. A lot of kids are like, no. And I'm like, well, how do you expect anything to change or get better if you haven't sat down and had a conversation, a one-on-one, not 4-on-1, not 3-on-2, not I'm bringing my buddy because they agree with everything that I have to say, like an open and honest conversation. So I really try to promote that and foster that. I'm super open with the players that I coach, myself. I'm pretty much an open book just because I feel like some of my experience can help them out, in problem solving and things of that nature. And just to like enjoy the moment, like wherever you are, make the best out of your situation, out of the moment, because it's not going to last long. The 4 years fly by super fast. So just kind of living in the moment is what I also try to instill in them, besides being a good listener and a good communicator.
Awesome. What are your best and worst memories in coaching?
I would probably say my worst memory would be when we first got let go as a staff. I was super young. Again, I started young in the business and I didn't quite understand it. I was also at my alma mater, so that presented a bit of a curveball. So I just didn't understand everything that was going on because I was new in the business. And I was like, heck, we just did X, Y, and Z. Like, we beat everybody in the league. We knocked off this team. Like, we did all these great things. And I was just like how? Like, how can this even happen? So that was hard, actually going through that and figuring out and understanding why, and then the what's next of it. So that was like a learning experience and things to kind of look out for, like moving forward and stuff like that. I would probably say my best experience would be at Hofstra. We wound up going to the Final 8 of the WNIT, which is something that I think only one program, women's basketball program in the school history had done. So just kind of taking a year where everybody was injured. I mean, we had 3 out of our starting 5 hurt. We had our 6-man hurt. We had kids, in cast. We had somebody get pink eye twice. We just had a lot of crazy things that were happening that people were like, oh, they're going to get knocked out in the first round. So we wound up beating Villanova to go on to play Florida Gulf Coast to try and get to, the Final Four, which playing down there is crazy. The atmosphere in and of itself at Florida Gulf Coast is insane. But after the Villanova win, just in the locker room, the celebration and the excitement, our Dobo was up on the table, like dancing. We were playing like the disco globes, like everybody just kind of like let loose and, was just super excited and proud of our accomplishments because no one thought that we were going to make it that far, let alone beat Villanova to advance. So that was probably one of my favorite times.
Wow. So I'm going to piggyback off of this because you said something about being let go. And it could be part of this answer. I don't know. But what was the most stressful situation you have faced?
I would say twofold. So after we got let go, like what next? Where was I going to go? Like how I was going to pay my bills, like, life stuff. Like, what am I going to do next was one stressful thing. And then I would probably say, as you interview and you talk to people, like deciding on which job is best for you at that point in time. And then if you take a job that you already know in your heart isn't what's best for you, but you take it because like you essentially, like you got bills to pay. So, you know what I'm saying? Like you're still going to do your job. You're still going to do all that. But if it doesn't necessarily sit right with you at that time, but you take it anyways, I would probably say those were kind of some tricky situations to be in.
I hear you. Whew. Yeah, I would think so too. This is kind of, it could be funny. This would go any way, but like, what is the strangest or craziest, wildest thing a player has done outside of the basketball court?
Oof. I coach some really wild kids. So I'm not 100% sure if I have anything crazy off the court, so to speak, but and I guess you can kind of say it's crazy. At Hofstra, we used to have what we called after hours. And we just kind of sit and just, relax, and it'd be myself and some of the other assistants, and, randomly some girls would pop in and, just kick it. And we would literally be there for hours on end. And we talk about, everything under the sun, like who's dating who said what to who, like what happened that weekend, on the party scene, or, if they played a prank on somebody, like this is the prank that we did. So I don't necessarily have one crazy story because I've coached a lot of like interesting, fun, outgoing people, but those happy hour sessions that we had like after work were pretty dope.
I'm sure. I was in the office across the hall.
Yeah. Lots of laughter and lots of, oh my gosh, no, you didn't. Lots of that. So.
Yeah. So I heard a few. I just, I'm laughing thinking about some of them. Now, obviously you work for, Tommy, someone that you worked for before. And like I said, I think you're going to be a terrific head coach someday. But if you had a chance to work for anyone, and we're not including you, Tommy, she's not going anywhere right now. But if you had a chance to work for anyone in women's college basketball, like who would that be and why? And that could be whether it's an AD, you being a head coach, being an AD, or working for someone even at a higher level or something like that.
So I would, if I had to like give one right now, I would probably say Dawn, simply because I feel like she's old school enough, but she mixes in some of the new school. So she's a spitfire. She gives it to you straight. Um, but the amount of care and love that she has for her players while they're there and after she moves on, and just how she takes care of them, because I'm friends with some of her former players, just playing at Rhodey and being in the A10 with them. And just hearing how she spoke when she first got in the league about her players, I was like, yeah, that's why they play the way that they play. So I think in some ways she were similar in terms of, I'm nowhere near saying I'm Dawn Staley, but just in terms of being a little bit of old school mixed with a little bit of new, and just really wanting to see, your players move forward and, and be the best and willing to go above and beyond to help them out. So if I had to say off top right now, without a full list in front of me, it would be Dawn or Coach Staley.
Yeah, you know what? Getting to know her or listening to her the last few weeks has been actually been really great. And I don't think she's not just a great women's basketball coach. She's a great basketball coach, brilliant mind, and I got a lot of respect for her. So that's not one that that's a great one to come up with. So now you kind of mentioned this about the WNIT Elite Eight, and this could be still the same answer, but a lot of times people even though they don't always equate this question to basketball a lot of times, biggest accomplishment you have experienced since you have been in college coaching or been a college coach?
It's a good one. I would just say my biggest accomplishments are, I tend to gravitate towards kids that are a little bit immature when they get there, or a little bit emotional, or brats is what I like to call them, because that's what they are when they get there. Kind of seeing that progression from their freshman year and following them all the way through to their senior year, and just see how they've grown and matured and, turned into a young adult by their senior year, from where they came before to being a brat and crying on the court and talking back. I would say those are my biggest accomplishments when I get a player like that, just to see that growth and that leap. But I have great relationships with mostly all of the players that I've coached. So, for me, just seeing them, how they grow, how they develop, where they are in their life, their careers, their families. I didn't realize how much of an impact I may have had until I get invited to the weddings. I get invited to the baby showers. I get told, I got this job. Like, what do you think? Can you give me some advice? Do you know this person, that person? So that's what I love. My mom was in education. She was a gym teacher. So maybe just seeing that growing up. My dad's a country boy. So, grew up on a farm in Marriottsville, Maryland. So just kind of seeing the way that they interact with people, I think played a huge role in how I treat the kids and what I want to get out of, the profession and the business. So just seeing that, really, I love that. I love that portion of it.
Awesome, man. I like that. This will be kind of a stunning one. So maybe, or maybe you have it in your mind. You just don't ever think about it. What movie or TV show title best describes your week?
Right now, my week, quarantine.
It could be anything. I would say, what describes your week? I'm gonna let you answer that. Quarantine helps out a lot of people answers, because most people be like, I really didn't watch TV. I only watch Sports Center or this and that. So, but what would you say?
I'm gonna say quarantine now is Groundhog's Day. So that's what I'm gonna go with. I am very cautious of everything that's going on. So for me, it's very wake up at this time, Zoom calls, emails, it's very Groundhog Day for me. So I'm like, what day of the week is it? oh shit, it's Wednesday. Tag, I thought it was Thursday. So it's like for me, it's Groundhog's Day. I walk at the same day every time. My mom calls me 30,000 times a day, FaceTime, like staff chats, all those things that go into, what we're doing now, being in quarantine. But I would definitely say if I had to choose right now, it's definitely Groundhog's Day.
Okay, I like that. Actually, that's one of my wife's favorite movies, and I'm like, wow, okay.
Not my favorite, but it definitely feels like this is what's going on. So.
You know what it does? It puts her to sleep more than anything else, I believe. What's your favorite word or phrase that you might use, like at any time, like with the players or just in life general? What's your favorite word or phrase?
My favorite phrase is "Don't talk about it, be about it." There's a lot of lip service everywhere. And I'm just like, put your money where your mouth is. So don't talk about it, be about it. And if you're not going to be about it, then I'm not really trying to hear any of what you have to say. So I would probably say that I say that the most anywhere I'm at.
Simple, sweet, and powerful. Like it. What's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
The best piece of advice that I would say I was given was always stick up for yourself. Be like unapologetic. So if someone's doing something wrong to you or that they shouldn't be doing or, anything in that, just like it's okay for you to express yourself and to be like, no, this isn't right. Or like, you can't talk to me like that. Like my people don't even talk to me like that. So if they don't talk to me like that, how are you gonna, address me like that? So the most part, just, when you express yourself and you stick up for yourself, still be respectful, but it's okay for you to do that. Like, you don't have to sit there and just take everything and just be like, yeah, okay, yep, what you said. It's like, no, if it's not it, like, we can have a conversation about it. We can agree to disagree. That's another good one for me. I'm all about that too. So those are probably the two big things. Agree. You can always agree to disagree and to always just stand up for yourself.
Two great ones. What does success mean to you?
It's a good question because I still ask myself that on a daily. I would probably say success for me is just making my family proud at this point. I'm a representation of my parents. I'm a representation of my brothers and sister, my nieces and nephew, aunts and uncles, like, from Baltimore, Catonsville, but the Ville is where I was born. It was where I was raised, Winners Lane. Like, I love everything about it. So success for me is just making those people, proud, making my dad proud, hearing him talk about me to other people. And, I go and visit my brother and people are like, he talks about you all the time. And I'm like, he talks about me all the time? Like, like to hear that. And we're tight. We're a very tight-knit family. But just seeing that I made them proud is success enough for me.
Awesome. Like, listen, we all know we have, tough days. It could be at work, tough laws, things just going. But like, where is your happy place? Like, when stuff is just going, like, where do you go physically, mentally? Like, where is your happy place?
My happy place is home. I mean, and like family, and family isn't just immediate. Family is, I'm very close with my college teammates. It's them, my high school teammates. We are thick as thieves. Like, I could call one right now. They'll pick up and be like, what do you need? Like, tell me what you need. So it's home. Like, we play at UMBC. I got like 50 people on the ticket list. You know what I'm saying? That's home. That's what makes me happy. growing up with people, seeing them, seeing their kids, being, like, hey, here's Dee. They call me Dee at home. Like, here she is, like, here, like giving me their kids. Oh, we know you love kids, like, here, like, take them, so being home is my happy place. If I can't get home, I would probably say my happy place would be talking to like any of my closest friends and just get on the phone and chop it up and just laugh about dumb stuff or laugh about all the crazy things that we did in high school or, early 20s. So if I'm stressed out and that's what I need, like I have a really tight group of people that I could call and they typically help me out.
Glad they could be there for you or even with you. You're not a self-promoter. I've never heard you, talk about yourself never heard you talk about yourself in a arrogant way or cocky way, I'm gonna say. But for me, I'm just asking for me, and if you had to choose 3 adjectives to describe yourself, which would you choose?
3 adjectives. All right. The first one I would say is loyal. I would say dependable. And I would lastly say I'm a hard worker. I grind it out no matter where I am, no matter what the situation, happy, sad, indifferent. I'm a work, I'm a grind, I'm a make it the best situation that I can. So loyal, dependable, and a hard worker.
3 great qualities. What person and or event has had the most influence on your life?
I would honestly probably say my parents. I would probably say for the most part, my mom and dad, blue collar, hardworking. Like I mentioned before, my mom is in education. Grew up in all the segregation and all those kind of things. So kind of just hearing about her stories and, she's a strong Black female as well. And a lot of times being a minority and where she is and just hearing her stories and how she's handled situations. I would probably say that. And just watching my dad, same thing, the way that he interacts with people. We had a surprise 80th for him and, just seeing the people come back for him and talk about all these stories and all these things that we didn't know. I would just probably say hearing those stories just like pushes me and wants me to go like even more and even harder for them. So I would probably say just seeing them, the way that they raise my brothers and my sister, and, they'll give their shirts off their back for anyone. Even if they don't have it, they're going to figure out a way to get it and, to get it to you. So I would probably say those 2 are the most influential, and just hearing their stories just kind of really has pushed me.
How has coaching affected your life?
What life?
That's a good point.
Just kidding, T. Coaching has allowed me to see go a lot of different places and have a lot of experiences that I may not have had if I wasn't coaching. I've been out of the country. I've coached a team overseas. I've been to, I can honestly probably say probably a good 40 of the 50 states, so it's really allowed me to see parts of the world that I didn't think that I would see. And I think now that I'm older and that I'm in the business, I can actually figure out the work-life balance. Whereas before, when I was younger, I thought like grind, like head down, always working. And my dad would always be like, are you ever going to take any time off? And I'm like, no, because if I'm taking time off, that means somebody else is out working me. So just now that I'm a little bit older and I've been at different places and I've watched some things and learned some things from other people, definitely figuring out that work-life balance is good for me, and I'm okay with taking that time away. I'm okay with, putting some things on the back burner. But definitely I'm okay with taking the time for myself now more than anything.
Mm-hmm. I like that. What energizes you and brings you excitement?
Ooh, that's a hard one. I don't get excited very easily. um, I am beyond laid back, maybe to a fault sometimes, some people think. But what excite me, gosh, that's hard. It's never really about me. It's about seeing other people succeed. So that excites me. Basketball wise, seeing great plays on the floor, excite me, or seeing things that we've been teaching for, weeks or months that we don't think our kids are going to get. And then all of a sudden it clicks and they get it in a game. That excites me. Sucker punching people in the face that don't think that we should at such a quick rate that we've been here, excites me. And when people doubt me, I think that that's the biggest thing. That's what, when people doubt and then we or myself actually do, that gets me excited.
Love those answers.
Yeah.
And I love to end this question just because it's like where you were to now where you are, but like what things that you would say younger self. So like knowing what you know now, what would you tell your young self to prepare for as an assistant coach?
If you are not okay with the situation that you're in as a coach, it is okay for you to think of yourself and be a little bit selfish and get out of that situation. That's one of the biggest things. I would tell my younger self, I don't know, I had a really good time when I was young. I enjoy, like, coaching wise, I was all about it. I was out, I was active. I was like, woo, while still doing my job. But do your research. Make sure you know who you're working for, not just your boss and being a head coach, but the university, athletic department, president, academics. Kind of just really do your research, ask around, talk to different people, because people are always going to present themselves in the best light. And then you get there, and in some cases it's great, it's still the same. And in some cases it's not, and things are completely flipped. And you're like, but wait a minute, I thought we was just... So I would just say do your research and everything that it is that you do. And chasing money isn't always the best thing. So you got to figure out your why. You got to understand your why, and you got to be okay with your why. And just don't compare your journey, your process to anybody else but your own. Because the second you do that is the second you're going to get, down in the dumps or why not, or have all these different questions. So those are kind of just some thoughts off top.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, DK, for being a guest on the show and being unmasked. I'm gonna let you say something before we go sign off on this. Anything you want to say to the viewers?
I don't bite. No, just kidding. LB, thanks for having me on. I don't do a lot of these platforms, so for me, it was good. It's cool to talk about past experiences and kind of honestly really reflect. So whatever it is that you guys are doing, have fun in it. And if you see me on the road, say what's up. We could chop it up. But otherwise, stay safe, keep grinding, and enjoy the process and the journey.
Awesome. Thank you, viewers, for watching another great show. Stay tuned for the next guest as we get them unmasked. See you next time, and stay safe.